Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the King Leo Show. We're a minute early, but one of the patrons said it's better to start on time, so we're gonna wait. How you doing, Robert? Appreciate you. We're gonna wait to start the show. One of our patrons, Audio Vibes, was like, "Hey, you're starting the show early, and it's cool because there's more content, but our audio is good. Let me check this. Excellent. We have to talk about today." This Bad Bunny stuff, man. It's worth it. It's worth it. All right. So let's get this here. Let's start with our plugs. I think we can do that before 10. All right. Thank you, Robert. Here we have the Discord. Link is in the description. You can join here. We already have 2 people in the Patreon tier. So you guys join on the Patreon. That's transcription. That's a transition here. Just $5 or $20 a month, whichever one you choose. You get access to the Patreon level, as well as you get all of the King Leo Movie Club in full for $5 or $20. You get it on YouTube for 10, but why would you do that? You're smarter. Go to Patreon. It's $5. And you also get the Discord lounge. And finally, we have the What Would a Postmodernist or What Would a Piers Morgan Do bracelet available at the coffee link below. It's 10 o'clock. Perfect. Perfect. All right. We have to talk about this Bad Bunny nonsense, man. This is a fascinating time to be in America. We really are here. All right. Top of the show, we have to get this out of the way. This is not a review of the concert, but I'll give you my take on it really quick. We'll have this playing here. It wasn't that bad. Okay, I'm just going to be honest. This is my personal take. It wasn't that bad. I thought it was going to be bad. I don't have very high expectations for reggaeton artists. And to be honest, Puerto Ricans, we don't get along with them too much, the rest of Latin Americans. So, but it wasn't as embarrassing as I thought it would be for the Latin community. I thought it was fine. And I think people made a bigger deal out of it than it had to be, because compared to last year with that Kendrick Lamar crap, I hated that. It wasn't that bad as far as showmanship goes. There was some cooning, which we'll get into, that I did not appreciate on the part of this man. But I think this was a political, geopolitical, and cultural weapon, for the most part, in favor of the United States and the Don Roe Doctrine. And I think a lot of people are missing this, except some very, very smart people I've seen online. How you doing, Spring? The only thing bad about the Bad Bunny performance was Bad Bunny. He never sung a word. Just about every Hispanic dude agrees. My parents, my mother doesn't speak English. She was like, I don't know anything that man said. I didn't understand a single word that he said. And spent way too much grabbing his crotch. Yes, look, I'm not a Bad Bunny fan. I'm not. I don't like him. I don't like the music. I'm not going to start listening to his music. I don't like it. But he didn't sing any of the worst songs he has. The lyrics were okay. So the main complaints I've seen are that the show was in Spanish. And I think we have to get into all of that tonight, dude. So it's a bit of a longer show, honestly. All right, it's going to be a bit longer. Let's start with just watching a couple clips, 2 clips of the performance, so we have an idea of what happened. Spring says, lots of beautiful women shaking their booties. Very nice. I have to say, to get my review of the performance out of the way, which is irrelevant, the Jennifer Lopez Shakira performance a few years ago was the most disgusting thing I had seen. It was the most embarrassing thing for a Hispanic person. These geriatric women shaking their ass. It was not a fun watch. This was not as bad. There was some cooning. I'm being perfectly clear. And it wasn't perfect. But as far as these things go, I didn't hate it. All right, it wasn't great. How you doing, Audio Vibes? No problem. Enjoyed the halftime show much better than the last few years. I have to say, after the Kendrick Lamar thing, I don't know. So let's start here. This is how the show started. Okay, it's important to show how it started. But we're not focusing on the show much as the reactions, which I think are indicative of a lot of stuff. So this song is one of his most famous ones. And the lyrics are about how he has a lot of girlfriends from all over the world. We see here, this is interesting, the Mexican, the Puerto Rican, the Spanish, and the Colombian flags on the piragua stand. We don't call these piraguas in other countries. As what's called a raspao. This is a snow cone for English speakers. We see here, he goes over here and he's buying some tacos, which is Mexican. And here we have some boxing. All right, and it's all taking place in a sugarcane field. Okay? All right, we buy gold and silver. Totally in cash is a translation there. The sugarcane field thing, it's whatever, All right. Let's watch the other bit of the show, and then we're going to get into... let's get the cooning out of the way first, too. We have to do that. There's another bit of the show. So this is what got most of the criticism. And I think it's interesting because I've seen this divide in the American mind, which I completely understand. I'm not unempathetic here. Okay? There is a vision that the rest of the world has of the American continent, which is that it is all one thing. If you learn geography in French, it's the Americas. And Bad Bunny here says, God bless America, and then goes on to list most countries in the American hemisphere. He missed some smaller ones. He missed French Guiana, which belongs to France, and Suriname. But this is again why I'm saying it's a political weapon. This is an embrace of the Pan-American vision that is completely aligned with the Trump foreign policy. This is the whole defense strategy. It is, we are going to secure our region. And so I'm not saying whether this is good or bad, but what I'm saying here is if I hear this and I'm the leadership of any country outside of the United States in the Western Hemisphere, it is somewhat scary, if you're an enemy country. This is an imposition of American culture and its supremacy in the form of football, to say there is an American vision. There is a vision for the Americas. This is just my opinion. And it's not surprising that it comes at a time where Donald Trump is saying very similar stuff. And the other thing I'd add before we get to the stuff that I really didn't like, he says, God bless America, and then lists the United States. I would, especially for conservatives, I would say this: God bless America is a new expression. This was created in the 1960s, I believe. Before that, every president, when they signed off of a broadcast, said something like, thank you, good night. This idea that it's a 250-year-old thing is not accurate. Okay, God bless America came at a time during the Cold War. Kind of like how we added under God to the Pledge of Allegiance during the Cold War. We had to separate ourselves from those atheist commies over there. So I think this Pan-American vision, he also mentioned Canada. In a lot of ways, if you're an American supremacist, in terms of the culture of the United States, this is, in my opinion, in your favor. This is saying, hey, this is our hemisphere. We can all get along here. Okay? Now, we have to get into it later. We're going to see more reactions. We're going to see that. Ephra, how you doing, Ephra? The most interesting thing about the Epstein files, the fact the Epstein class basically manufactured the culture war. This is why I'm neutral. I have no general opinion about this culture war. I agree. We're not going here with like a strong opinion whether it was good or bad. It was more of an analysis, deconstruction. Robert says, think they use Bad Bunny to create division in this country. I can see what you're saying, Robert. It's definitely doing that. I don't think that's inaccurate. I do think it's doing that, but I do think it's self-imposed division from other people. Like people that, what would you call it? Like, we're going to get into it. People that were very angry at this performance are like self-isolating. And I'm just not understanding exactly why, but we'll get into it because I'm not quick to call people xenophobic or any other insult, but I do think there was something weird about the All-American show and everything, and we're going to get into all that. But Robert, I do think it's creating division. Absolutely. Whether it was meant to or not, it is creating division. How are you doing, Paddy Dolin? Pan-American Vision says that. Exactly. That's what I mean. Spring says, I was able to watch all this without being offended about the 3 minutes. We're going to show the TPUSA thing. Don't worry. All right. So firstly, I have to show some cooning. You guys know I hate cooning. I hate shucking and jiving for the man. Okay, I hate it. It makes us minorities look bad. And there was some cooning, okay? Number one, we accept EBT. All right, let me remove the chat for a second so you can see it. We accept EBT. We don't need that image, man. We don't need that. Bad Bunny, not good. Now, and the other one I would say here is, and I have to explain something maybe to the white community, which is, look, man, the way it works with immigration nowadays is that your parents show up, they have you. You're the first kid, you're the one most connected to the culture, capital K culture. Second kid's a little disconnected. Then you have kids, and those kids are even more disconnected. But there's all these like symbols, these ideas of what it meant to be of that culture. So, for example, if you're Hispanic, you'll often hear this meme about getting hit as a kid with a chancla, with a sandal. This is child abuse. It's not funny. It's not cute. It's not endearing. But you'll notice the people that are most disconnected from the culture will hang on to that and say, oh my God, that's so Hispanic, hitting your kids with a sandal. And it's very annoying because it's cooning. It's straight cooning. And here we have, this is a common experience for Latin Americans. He has a kid sleeping on chairs during the performance, during the party. And this is designed for people who are like second gen or third gen. And they go, oh my God, I used to sleep on the chair. Stop it. You don't know what it is anymore, okay? I don't even know what it is completely myself. I was born in America. So there were other bits of cooning, but for time, I'll show those, and I will say I outright condemn that cooning, especially in this Black History Month. I don't like it. Robert says, don't get me wrong, I love the Hispanic culture, but they could have picked a Hispanic that knows English, something like the Tijuana Brass, Herb Albert, or Julio Iglesias singing in English, just saying. Robert, I do agree that I'm saying this wasn't that bad, but my preferences probably align with yours. I'm a huge Julio Iglesias fan. I mean, every Hispanic is. Cheo Feliciano, Willie Colon. Yeah, I can see that criticism. I can see it. I can see how it's a little divisive, Paddy Dolin says, people fall into tribalism. Absolutely. Spring says that he was going to reveal a quinceañera dress. Dude, I'm so glad he didn't wear the dress. I felt like Dave Chappelle. He's always like, please don't make the black man wear a dress. That's how I felt. How you doing, Jose? In the section featuring a song about New York, he showed an accurate depiction of an NYC bodega. All right. If we're going for authenticity, I don't know, Jose. I don't like it. It makes us look like we're all on welfare and stuff. And I don't know. It just wasn't my thing. But, feel free to disagree. It's fine. Efra says, yes, trying to. That's how I felt. I'm not a fan of cooning, but I'm a bit of a guy. I'm a bit of a curmudgeon. Okay. So let's go to the lead up. All right. I want to go up to the lead up here of this show. All right. Firstly, let's start here with some Myron Gaines, who's talking about the Super Bowl in general, because this is the first time I'm going to say I kind of completely agree with Myron Gaines in this clip. Let's watch.
Watching professional sports is one of the gayest things ever.
Thank you for saying this.
What the fuck? Like, you're going to sit here and watch a bunch of dudes chase their dreams while you're sitting here eating fucking Domino's or Papa John's pizza?
Right.
Like, that's gay, dude. That's fucking gay. And this is why so many guys are losers. Like, why they're fat, triple chin, women don't respect them, because they're watching other men achieve their dreams while they sit there not achieving theirs.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, professional sports is literally one of the worst things you can fucking waste your time watching.
Including MMA.
Yes, like, yeah, I think MMA is gay too. Like, unless you're like a fighter yourself and you're watching it to like, that's one of the caveats. Like, if you watch professional sports for study purposes because you are an athlete yourself, that's fine. But, even watching MMA, I think is stupid.
Should men even watch TV in general? What should men watch then?
TV is stupid. Biggest waste of time ever. Guys should be watching documentaries. They should be watching, anything that's educational.
Okay. Now, I want to start here because of this. We're going to revisit Myron Gaines later. Watching sports is gay. I'm not sure I would put it that way, but I would just say it's bread and circus. And I enjoy my bread and circus. I watch the Super Bowl. I don't watch the playoffs, but I watch the Super Bowl because you have to enjoy your bread and circus. There's nothing wrong with enjoying your bread and circus. But if this position holds true, then everything associated with this is gay and should be discarded. It should not matter. It should not affect you. It should not make you angry, right? So, all right. By the way, I think Paddy Delino was saying it, and I would add this, Robert, because what you were saying with Julio Iglesias, and we're going to talk about this more, I do think that the NFL is not really, I think a lot of people, we saw it with Cracker Barrel too, they put a lot of importance on these institutions that are just a couple decades old, And at the end of the day, they're corporations that will betray you for nothing, I don't put any stock in any corporation. A lot of people romanticize them, but it was a marketing decision, absolutely, because this isn't unexpected for the NFL. I would say that first. The NFL has started playing games in Europe, exhibition games, as well as in Latin America and Brazil. I'm sure they're going to start doing it in Asia and Africa eventually. I think they realize they tap the American market and they're going for unorthodox strategies like setting up that Taylor Swift thing with the football player from the Chiefs to go after new market segments. And if you're thinking as a pure capitalist, it makes sense, And not to be trite, but it is one of those things where once money's introduced into a sport, and we see this with college football, which I don't really follow, but I've seen how it's transformed since money entered it, it is not going to go the way people like, So, all right. Let's keep going. Robert says the Kid Rock show was okay, but I don't think they should have put it on because it causes division too. I agree, Robert. I agree. And I want to get into the title of that show too. All right. I also wanted to show here, this is, in case anyone didn't remember, I really thought this show was actually divisive. Okay, we're going to go with that framing. We had Kendrick Lamar show up to the Super Bowl singing about child molestation. Oh, it's a joke. It's a battle rap. I don't care. During the Super Bowl. This, to me, was pretty bad. Okay, singing about how Drake enjoys the company of children was pretty. I know that there was like a racially tinged argument against this, because he's black. For me, it was mostly that. So we're just going to play a little bit of this one just so we have the barometer of last year.
Don't mess this. Oh no. It's a cultural divide. I'm going to get it on the floor. You really about to do it? 40 acres in the mule. This is bigger than the music. You really about to do it? Yeah, they tried to rig the game, but you can't fake influence. They get on it like that. Hey, I'm tripping, I'm sliding, I'm riding through the back like whoa. Must have on a beat, bro. Beat, he a freak, no man down, call like Ember Lambs. Tell him breathe.
I don't like Kendrick Lamar, so maybe I'm not being very nice, all right? I don't like him. I liked the first album, Section 80. I liked Good Kid, Mad City. But I think he's really dropped the ball since To Pimp a Butterfly. So maybe it's my bias, but I thought this was genuinely not a stupid decision because sure, it's a marketing thing. It's the most popular song. But you're talking about children with adults. It's kind of gross. So all right. Let's see here what Donald Trump said before the Super Bowl. All right, let's see what he had to say.
I have a feeling this is going to be a great Super Bowl. I've watched all season. I've seen these two teams just win. I see two great quarterbacks, young, great quarterbacks. It's going to be a fantastic Super Bowl, and everybody wants to hear who I pick. And I'll tell you what.
It was a bad Super Bowl. By the way, the game was terrible. The NFL script writers are doing a terrible job. It was a bad game. The game was bad. Donald Trump later came out and said it was the worst Super Bowl performance of his life. All right. Just so you know how it led up. We also had the Department of War Rapid Response Team tweet out one of my favorite videos, which is Pete Hegseth doing the gritty at a Vikings game.
All right, when y'all score, I want to see the gritty. Yeah, I want to see the gritty.
He's really grown on it. Thought he was just dumb, but he's pretty funny. All right. And I also have to give this context where 2 clips had gone viral. This one here is of Wajat Ali previous to the Super Bowl. Okay, this was on the 8th, but it had gone viral before that, as well as this one here from Representative Jean Wu. Okay. And these clips are very bad for race relations. All right, let's watch them. And we'll know what context we're going into the Super Bowl with.
You've lost. You have lost. You lost. The mistake that you made is you let us in the first place. See, that's the thing with brown people. And I'm going to say this as a brown person. There's a lot of us. Like a lot. There's like 1.2 billion in India. There's more than 200 million in Pakistan. There's like 170 million in Bangladesh. Those are just the people there. I'm even talking about the folks who are expats or immigrants. There's a bunch of us. And we breed. We're a breeding people. And the problem is you let us in 1965. There were a few of us beforehand, but once you let one of us in, you know what happens with brown folks? Our grandmother comes, our grandfather comes, our uncle comes, our aunt comes, our cousin comes, our second cousin comes, our third cousin comes. Then we have kids, a bunch of kids. And then guess what? Some white women, you know, the Western civilization women, the pure women, the American women, quote unquote, the Rust Belt women, the real women, they like some of us brown folks. We don't take them. They come to us.
Why would you say this? Why would you say this? This reeks of low self-esteem. Why would you say this? Why would you say this? Do you think this is good or bad for race relations? Why would you say this? This is a commentator, so he gets more leeway, but we have to go over here to Representative Jean Wu, who said this, who's of course Asian.
I always tell people the day the Latino, African American, Asian, and other communities realize that they share the same oppressor is the day we start winning. Because we are the majority in this country now. We have the ability to take over this country and to do what is needed for everyone and to make things fair. But the problem is our communities are divided. They're completely divided.
Why would you say this? Why would you think this is a good idea to say? Furthermore, it's fantasy. I am tired of this fantasy, dude, with like this pan minority vision. Have you called a Japanese guy Chinese and seen how he's reacted? Have you called a Korean guy Chinese and see how he's reacted? You guys can't get along. I'm not saying we can. You asked me about Colombians, I'm going to give you some opinions. They're going to come out later this year during the soccer tournament. You're not supposed to say this stuff. Also, we don't share the same oppressor. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? There are divisions in every ethnic community. And people are oppressed in all kinds of ways, including white people. This is straight up Radio Rwanda stuff, man. I don't like this. This is not just because of it's identity politics. Fuck that. This is just, why are you doing? Why would you think this is a good idea to say? I just wonder why you would think it's a good idea to say. Because we're going to shit on a lot of right-wingers tonight. These guys, I don't believe in free speech. You should be voted out of office for saying that. Why would you antagonize half the country? I think half the country is white, or like 49, 48%. Why would you say that to them? Why? Do you think that's going to make things better or worse? So both of these guys had the American public pretty angry going into the Super Bowl, especially white people. It's understandable. This is very disrespectful. Very disrespectful. The white people, once again, it's Black History Month. I love white people. I love black people. I love Hispanic people. I love Asian people. I don't love saying that because I feel like it's not specific enough. I love the Swedish. I love the Colombians even. I love the Chinese. But if we have to say it, I love white people. This is bad stuff. Why are you saying this to the white people? The white people, they had a big part in making this country. A huge part. Why would we be mean to the white people? They did a lot of cool... Dude, to put it this way, the white people invented the Anglo-Saxon, which I'm a little critical of at times, invented the best legal system in the world. The best one, which is common law. If I were dictator of Venezuela tomorrow, I would change it to common law. The white people nailed the judicial system. Now, the Muslims did too, the Sharia law, but I prefer the common. I like the common law. I don't like where it's at now, but it's the best system in the world. Why would you shit on these people? They made a lot of great technologies. Efra says some white people literally think Jewish people are their oppressors, which I think is nonsense. I get what you mean. Exactly. Like this, saying this stuff about, dude, the white people are cool. All right. Everyone has something cool to them. And they did a lot of cool stuff. Some of my favorite historical figures are white. Thomas Edison. Andrew Jackson. Oh, thank you, sir. Thank you, Robert. Thank you, Robert, for the super chat. We need to get closer, not further apart. I agree, Robert. I mean, that is the vision. That is the only way we can move forward. I agree. This kind of stuff is just going to make first of all, it's going to make the minorities angry. You're telling a black person they have the same oppressor as an Asian person. I don't want to get into it here, but Asian people and black people have had very different experiences in the United States and their interactions with whites. They've been very different. Hispanics, even amongst us, do Cubans see white people as their oppressor? They kind of liberated their country and allowed a bunch of them in when things went bad. Now, do Mexicans feel the same way? Probably not, because they took half of their country in a war. Whether it was legal or not doesn't matter. That's how they feel about it. So we do need to come together, Robert. I agree. This is just silly. This is silly stuff, and I hate it. And I hate having to say it. I love white people. White people are cool. They have cool stuff. I like their music. They're smart. And, oh, shit, we lost the battery here. 1 second. And this kind of divisive rhetoric, this mean stuff to say towards the white people is just unacceptable in my view. Why would you talk about anyone like that? 1 second. Get this plugged in here. So yeah, I'm not cooning here, dude. I'm not cooning. I'm just saying everyone has their own thing. You know, Venezuelans, we invented the diamond knife. The white people invented the phonograph. What's the big deal? It reeks of low self-esteem in my view. All right, let's move on. Should we look at, let's look at how people were enjoying the Super Bowl. This could be the Goyim have gone mad segment here. Let's play our title card.
The people are retarded.
How you doing, Full? I appreciate that, my white brother. We have white brothers, black brothers, Hispanic brothers, Asian brothers. Let's start here, all right? Meatloaf football with onion laces for Super Bowl dinner. Now, if you eat this, I like meatloaf. I think it's one of the best white American dishes. This is slop, okay? And this is John Harwood posting this, a journalist. And it was quote tweeted by a non-Jewish person. The Goyim have gone insane. If you're eating, guys, it's the big 2026. If you're eating like this, if you're eating this garbage over here, guys, you're not going to make it. You're not going to make it. Why would you do this to your stomach? You can eat this at like 10. You can't eat this when you're older. This is bad stuff. I can't eat certain things now. I can't. This is bad. All right, let's continue. Let's see here. All right, I wanted to get these reactions here to the Super Bowl. But before that, let's look at more slop. This is what the people are eating, man. This was $100 at the Super Bowl. Watch this.
Burger, special for Super Bowl 60. It's a bone-in beef shank, braised in-house 5 hours, blue cheese fondue, and a homemade roll.
If you eat this, you deserve to have your civil rights taken away. You deserve to have your banking rights taken away. You should be sent to prison in Romania with Andrew Tate. You should be broke on the side of the road if you eat this. This is evil. Don't we have RFK Jr. telling us to eat real food? This is not real food. This is cancer. This is diabetes. This is high cholesterol. If there's anything to learn from these two things, is we need to do better as Americans. This is not funny anymore. Okay, you don't smoke cigarettes. You're eating this. This is not good for you. It's not good for you. Guys, we got to, in the big 2026, we got to stop. All right. Let's see some reactions to the Super Bowl halftime show from the people across the country. Now, here's where I agree with Myron Gaines. If you don't like it, why are you watching it? Why are you watching it? This feels performative. It feels hitting the vape in the Oakley sunglasses. I like some Oakleys, but all of them are wearing Oakleys. You know, this is the cap, the trucker cap. This is the end of the line for America. Why are you subjecting yourself? That's one thing we preach on this show. Why would you subject yourself to something you don't enjoy? Something that's causing you harm? Why would you do that to yourself? Okay, let's get some reactions for Black History Month, the African American community to the halftime show. Spring on Tavares says the marrow is healthy. The marrow is healthy. I love bone marrow. I'm a bone marrow fan. But you know they're eating that brioche bun with the fondue, that fake cheese, whatever they're using. Bone marrow is good for you. You should eat bone marrow. Let's see here.
I mean, like, who is this man? Golly. You can't sing. I mean, like, what is this? Golly. This is ridiculous. And got the American flag and all these other flags. And yeah, God bless you too. Get off the stage. Please get off the stage. Get off. Put the game back on. I can't stand this. Tell me that. I mean.
Now, I'm sure this woman is a kind woman in real life, but I have to say, this is not a high IQ reaction to the flags in particular. Sports are a weapon of propaganda. If you weren't aware of that, every sports movie you've seen is this. Rudy, what are the other ones, dude? All of them are propaganda. Moneyball, they're good, but they're designed in order to do things politically. You think that the only people doing sports for the hell of it are at the basketball court right now. Or me, I play tennis, right? I go to the tennis court. That's for the hell. Sports is always propaganda. It's propaganda and money. That's it. Everyone remembers, I wasn't alive for it, but the Miracle on Ice, the Miracle on Skates, whatever it was called, that was a huge propaganda victory in the Cold War. The flags, if you think a little bit, you can see the political vision here. If there is one, and maybe I'm completely off base and Bad Bunny had no input from the military who sponsors the NFL. Maybe I'm crazy. Okay? Hoosiers, breaking away chairs. All of these movies are propaganda. Sports in themselves are. Do you think the USA basketball team is just some like nice team that plays at the Olympics? No, it's a show of force. It's showing we can defeat you here because of all the money we put into it. and we will defeat you everywhere else. This is the value of sports. And Ephra says, when does it become a trend to hate watch because of the culture war? I think we're past that point, Ephra. I really think so. And here we have Boozy's reaction, who I believe is a rapper to this.
I want to see Chris Brown.
Okay, we want to see Chris Brown. Boozy, I have to tell you, Boozy, my friend, if there's one redeeming quality to this Bad Bunny thing, is shout out to Lindy Man on Twitter. Go follow Lindy Man to enlighten your life. We are in a stuck culture. There are no new things. There are none. And when you have something new, you should cherish it. There's a reason all the movies are remakes and reboots. There's nothing new. I don't want to see Chris Brown, because Chris Brown has had a 40-year career. I don't want to see the Rolling Stones. I want to see something new. And I really thought the novelty at least would get people. It's new. It's a new thing. It's new. We should be pining for the new. Pining for it. So no, I don't think Chris Brown or bringing out some washed out artists, and I like Chris Brown, besides the Rihanna thing, he makes some good music. No, we need to ascend into the new, and we will make mistakes along the way, but we must always be pushing forward. The businessman is always progressive, as John Paul Getty said. We must be progressive. We must seek the new. Is this not the Faustian spirit? Is this not what all of the Wignats that I've been arguing with on Twitter today are talking about? How we have to ascend? Novelty is of value in itself, even if it's horrible. So no, Boozy, and I think it's really rich coming from someone of the same cohort, different age of Kendrick Lamar. We sat through that Kendrick Lamar stuff was so corny and crap that I am amazed that anyone could pass judgment of the musical, like the rap music scene after that corny crap last year. All right. Now we have to get to some of the more better stuff. Okay. Let's start here with the stupid reactions to the Bad Bunny performance. Okay, we're gonna start here. One of my favorite punching bags, Vic Mensa, the rapper. Let's go see, because we're gonna shit on a lot of left wingers, a lot of right wingers here. Okay, let's see here. Vic Mensa, the genius who figured out that Gaddafi was trying to start a bank this year.
My boy Bad Bunny salsa through the Super Bowl last night. Trump nasty ass got the nerve to say the dancer was inappropriate for children. Open at the global cabal of sex trafficking billionaires, of which you are a founding member? You can't make this shit up. With the headquarters at Mar-a-Lago, they had an alternative racist halftime show. Sorry, it's so funny. With Kid Rock, interesting name, all things considered. He up there talking about some, I married my sister, I married my cousin. Yo, the whole TPUSA.
It always astonishes me, man. I don't know if people know this. All of these stereotypes against the redneck are born out of anti-black tropes. In case you weren't aware, Vic Mensa, this inbred cousin fucking thing, this was all said about black people in the early 20th century and late 19th century. When you use these tropes, you are using tropes that were used against your community to attack poor white people. Is that what the people who have the power in our society, poor white people? Okay, let's continue. I've always found using these tropes to be distasteful.
Halftime show lineup looked like Drewski and Whiteface. Inbred ass lineup, Game of Thrones ass roster. As far as the actual show, it's beautiful. It was so Latino at a time when Latinos are under attack. The whole motherfucking thing is in Spanish. Even the subtitles was in Spanish. You couldn't understand that shit in English if you tried, as it should be. I mean, it's in California, a Spanish word, in a place called Santa Clara, near San Jose.
You don't roll your R in Santa Clara in Spanish. I hate when people do this. It makes me want to jump off a building. You don't have to do a fake accent when you're ordering food. You don't have to do it. You don't. Just say it in English. When I'm speaking in English, I'm speaking in English. When I'm speaking in Spanish, I'm speaking in Spanish.
In Los Angeles.
Los Angeles, not Los Angeles. If you can't even do it right, why don't you shut the fuck up and go rap? You haven't had a hit in 20 years.
And niggas is mad that it's in Spanish. The whole fucking state is in Spanish. America's just so hypocritical. They fought the whole Revolutionary War for no taxation without representation. And here's Puerto Rico, a modern day colony with no senators. Speaking of hypocrisy, Jake Paul over there hating with a broken jaw, calling Bad Bunny a fake American, while Jake Paul lives in Puerto Rico to avoid paying taxes. Above all, it was fresh sale, beautiful people of all races, production value, amazing, conceptually strong. The TP USA shit was so fucking weak. Like, yo, there's gotta at least be like a good racist creative director out here. Like, who's doing the Sweeney Todd shit? I mean, Sydney Sweeney. Like, y'all need to hire whoever was doing her good jeans shit at least. Cause I'm serious, man. These racist niggas, man, they need better stylists. Graphic designer, something. Fuck.
Thank you, Vic Mensa. I love hearing from Vic Mensa, the Socrates of our time, enjoying an orange and just talking bullshit. Now, what I'd address is where he says here that Puerto Rico is a colony in our time. Puerto Rico, I have long been a defender of their separatist movement. I think that it's a good idea. The Puerto Rico thing is an abusive relationship. And when I say that, you're probably thinking, oh yeah, America is abusing Puerto Rico. No. If you've never had a friend in an abusive relationship, if you pick sides, you're already losing. Okay? They're both just as crazy. The United States and the Jones Act is abusive. Puerto Rico and the amount of federal funds they receive is abusive. Who cares who's abusing who? Okay? This is not a great relationship. However, there is strategic military value in Puerto Rico. So I understand people that don't want to go. But this idea that it's a colony, people don't know what a colony is anymore. They have no idea. They have no idea. A colony is a mercantilist ambition. Colonies, the only closest proximity to a colony in the modern day is probably One Belt, One Road, and that is light years removed from colonization. This reductive view of Puerto Rico, of all this, the politics, it is embarrassing. All right, let's continue. Here we have, I think this is great stuff here. This is Beryllium. This is a young man who, it was revealed over winter, was previously a transsexual who decided to become, I don't know, like a white nationalist type. Let's see what his view is here of the Bad Bunny Super Bowl performance.
Socialism, we want fucking Afro-socialism with Bad Bunny characteristics. Like, what the fuck are we talking about here? This is not, we would like to coexist with you under the Monroe Doctrine. This is, fuck the Monroe Doctrine. We want the fucking Puerto Rican doctrine. We want the Benito Doctrine. And now this is what's coming to your front door, is like racially ambiguous people with loud music shaking ass. And that's on purpose. It's meant to offend you. It's meant to say to you, submit. Be humiliated. We are dominating everything that you love, and the country of your forefathers is now our favela. It is peak and pure goy slop. Because let's be honest, right?
Now, I had a discussion on Twitter today with someone who was expressing a similar view. Matt Forney, who's a retard. He was there saying that Puerto Rico is trying to wage a race war on white people in America. And I replied, so the Puerto Rican government is planning an ethnic cleansing of the United States. This is retarded. And one of his followers came in and said, Why not? India does it. Let's put that aside. Let's take it at face value. And I said, so the Puerto Rican government is having secret meetings to make the United States Puerto Rican. Where are these meetings being held? Is the FBI aware of these meetings? The government that can't run an electrical grid and weather a hurricane is planning something. I'm sure every office in the Puerto Rican government is bugged. Where is the evidence of this? I would like to see it. I'm not trying to get stereotypical here, but there's some Polish jokes that could apply to Puerto Ricans. I don't think Puerto Ricans are capable of planning a secret ethnic cleansing without at least getting overheard. They're Caribbean, they're loud like Venezuelans and Cubans. I think they would have been overheard by now. I don't think that there's a secret race war that the Puerto Rican governor is planning. I really struggle to believe that. And of course they said, you're pretending you don't know what I'm saying because you're a leftist. And I'm like, okay, great response. Thank you. I'm not a leftist, but I love the argument. I love it. Puerto Rico, let me get this straight, just so I'm clear. Puerto Rico, there's a secret memorandum. It's like the Hitler, the Havara Declaration. It's like, we're going to eliminate all the white people by shaking ass, and then we're going to take over America. That's what the Puerto Rican government is planning. I want to see these files. I want to see the evidence for this. I really do. This is the most retarded thing that I heard all day. It was how is this even People don't like to think logistically, but that's the best way of interpreting the world. It's like, I remember when there was a huge controversy around around the war or genocide in Israel. And I remember this, and I said it on the show, where Ben Shapiro and other people were saying that Palestinians had come in, Hamas, and cut off the heads of babies and burned them alive. And I just went, I'm sorry, hang on. So this is a military operation that Hamas is doing, a terrorist, and they were going, make sure we have enough time for us to cut the heads off babies. Logistically, this doesn't make sense. I'm not saying that there wasn't a horrific attack, but I'm like, this doesn't make sense. Like, where do you get this in between a timed attack going over a border? It doesn't make sense to me. And it turned out to be completely false. And I knew that within the hour, because I sit here and I'm a critical thinker. I go, wait, an army is going to make time to do war crimes in a limited operation across their border and then go back? Why would they do that? That doesn't even make sense. If they were going to do it, wouldn't they display it as military propaganda or something? And so that's why I like to think logistically. You can keep yourself sane by thinking logistically. It doesn't mean that you're doing anything wrong or anything that's correct or incorrect. In any war, in anything like this, you have to think logistically. War is won with logistics. So if the logistics don't add up, you go, okay, that doesn't really make sense. And I'm doubtful of the claim. All right. Efra says, so the next question is, what is America? Is this the new culture war? That's what I'm wondering, Efra, because so Puerto Rico, we're going to get to that question. I really want to address it in the context of the counter Super Bowl show. How you doing, Stefan? All right, let's continue. We have here, which was previously mentioned, Logan Paul at the Super Bowl, who was asked if he was excited for the Bad Bunny performance.
Logan, are you excited for the halftime show? No.
Now, I have to say, I've never liked this guy. And I get not being excited for the halftime show. That's fine. That's fine, okay? It's okay. You live in Puerto Rico. Look, myself, I wouldn't live in Puerto Rico. I can't stand them. I'm Latino. I know my people, and I know these people. I can't stand them. Okay. I wouldn't live in Chile. I'm half Chilean. I can't stand them because the Chileans are always depressed. I can't stand them. I can't. Make good music, good food, but I can't live there. It's too depressing. We're like the Norwegians of South America. We're always sad and drinking and eating too much salt. Puerto Ricans, I can't stand them. I can't. I don't like going to Kissimmee in Florida. I can't stand them. Venezuelans, I could live around maybe, okay? My favorite Latinos are probably like to live around would be Ecuadorians are pretty nice, you know? Mexicans are cool. Guatemalans are very nice people. You live in Puerto Rico. This halftime show is your everyday life. I know what it is. I've been to San Juan. You have the music blasting everywhere. This performative crap is so fascinating to me. Why do you live there if you can't stand this music? Why do you live there? And everyone was like, oh yeah, this is great. This is so cool. You live there. This is obviously performative. Otherwise, you wouldn't live there. You wouldn't live there. All right, let's continue. I think this is Logan Paul next. Yes. Jake Paul here, who said, purposefully turning off the halftime show. Let's rally together and show big corporations they can't just do whatever they want without consequences, which equals viewership for them. You are their benefit. Realize you have power. Turn off this halftime, a fake American citizen performing who publicly hates America. I cannot support that. I want to focus in here on fake American citizen. I am amenable to arguments, and I've said it on the show before, that there are people, if you're a descendant of a Mayflower, you have some gradations, you have some shades of American that I don't have. You know, I'm like, whoa, this is like a real McCoy, to use an American expression. I go, damn, dude, you've been in this country for a long time. That's very cool. So I'm amenable to these arguments that there are some people who are perhaps a little bit more American, a little less. Even in our attitudes, right? I think I'm a little less American than a lot of Americans. Okay? I like to eat arepas. I like to eat other stuff. I like to listen to bolero music. I like to smoke in my car. I like to I like to play the cajon. I like to wear guayaberas. I'm not exactly as American as someone who's like a wasp that's dressed in Ralph Lauren purple label. All right. Puerto Ricans are American citizens. And the idea that they're not, I'm having trouble here with this. This was a colonial ambition to an extent of the Spanish-American War. This was to expand the American empire explicitly at the time. And you have these subjects who are Puerto Ricans. They live in Puerto Rico and New York for the most part, and Kissimmee in Florida. These people are American citizens, by hook or by crook. Who are you to call them fake American citizens? You live there, I think. I don't know if it's both of them. This is not a fake American citizen. A fake American citizen to me would imply someone who has forged their papers. This is someone who is American. It has been a century of American territory. Okay? A century. They don't speak English. That is your fault. The metropolis, the metropoli, as it's called in Spanish, the colonial empire has not enforced its rules. They don't speak English well. They don't. Okay? They don't. And that's just true. But they're American. It's been 100 years, man. Would you say this about Guam? Would you say this about Hawaiians? Would you? It just feels very disrespectful. Now, if America, I don't know, if they bought Haiti tomorrow and everyone became an American citizen, maybe I could entertain this. It's like, oh, you're fake. You were just bought. You know, you need a little hazing. It's been a century. A century. I think they've earned the right. I think they've earned the right. They are American citizens. There was a Puerto Rican general in World War II. Puerto Ricans are a huge part of the American military. Puerto Ricans are an integral part of New York, of Florida. These are Americans. Okay? So, with all those caveats, we see here the community note. People who live in Puerto Rico have been identified as U.S. citizens since 1917. More than a century. Additionally, Jake Paul, who has lived in Puerto Rico since 2021, still would technically qualify as a U.S. citizen. I don't know if people are not aware of this reality, and AOC obviously quote tweeted it and said, a fake American citizen. Didn't you move to Puerto Rico to avoid paying your taxes while kids across America go hungry? All right, whatever. They are Americans. Okay? They're Americans. They're Americans, dude. I'm sorry. When a Latino meets a non-Puerto Rican Latino meets a Puerto Rican, they're like, God damn, bro, you guys are lucky. You guys are fucking American. Well, lucky motherfuckers, you don't need a visa. They're like, of course. And of course they go, yeah, I'm a Boricua, I'm a Puerto Rican as well. They love Puerto Rico, which is understandable. The Hawaiians love Hawaii and their Hawaiian queen or whatever. And the Guamese, I'm sure the Guamese love some Guam shit. This is understandable. And even within the United States, it's like this. I identify with Florida. I love Florida. On a larger scale, I identify with the South. I love the South of the United States. It's a great region. I love California too, but I don't identify with it. I identify with Florida. I'm a Floridian. I identify with Miami. So everyone has this. If I had to wave a flag and it was a U.S. flag or the Florida flag and I could have my pick, I would probably wave the Floridian flag. I love this state. I love it. I love it. I think this is the best state in the country. Well, that's probably California, but I love it so much. So this is not unusual to have Puerto Ricans waving their flag. I love Florida. I love it. I love it so much. So this is this reductive thing of like, oh, this is not the way it is. It's just plain stupid. Let's continue. We have Laura Loomer, my ex-girlfriend. What the hell is this illegal alien farm worker non-English shit on my TV? Someone call ice.gov. All right. This one's so abrasive that it's just funny. I obviously she's trolling. Okay. All right. What the hell is this illegal alien farm worker? That's pretty funny. Illegal alien farm worker, non-English shit. I'm going to start calling stuff that. Whenever I see a Latino working, a Latino, I don't know, like a blue-collar Latino walks in. Illegal alien farm worker, non-English shit. That's a funny one. I wouldn't be surprised if people started. This one's pretty funny. The farm worker thing, all right, I get it. It's like he did have the sugarcane thing. I don't know why he had the sugarcane thing, but whatever. This is just stupid, but this one's funny, so we'll just leave it like that. All right, it's pretty funny. How you doing, Doom? T. Robert said next year we need a Chinese, a Chinese show. That would be wild. I see Doom says I identify with Chicago and Illinois. That's the same thing. It's the same thing. Now, they've had a separatist movement in Puerto Rico. So you might say, oh, they're not really American. There's a separatist movement in California right now. Literally right now. Oh, it's a LARP. Okay, this one's a LARP too. It's a LARP too. Oh, they took over the Capitol in the 60s. Everyone was buck wild in the 60s, all right? It wasn't just the Puerto Ricans. It was the whites in the Weather Underground. It was the blacks, okay, with the Simboese Liberation Army, the Venezuelans, the Cubans with Alpha 66 and Omega 7. Everyone was buck wild back then, okay? Everyone. The Irish were sending guns to the IRA. Everyone has a bit of a buck wild, period. Everyone has it. Okay? Everyone has it. And it's not just left wing. There was like the New Order. They went buck wild in the 90s, the Michigan militia. Everyone kangs every once in a while. We was kangs. Everyone goes buck wild sometimes and they do a little militia bullshit. Okay? So it's always a LARP. Okay? Now, here we have Benny Johnson, our favorite grinder lurker. Bad Bunny closes performance flanked by foreign flags, standing in front of a billboard, says, "The only thing more powerful than hate is love." This makes me... I'm sorry I ever doubted you, George Bush. And I'm going to play his clip later. What do these types of people want? Do you want a protectionist, isolationist, nativist United States that is somehow wealthy with all of this, but it's surrounded by a bunch of poor shitholes? I imagine they would want that, like these poor shitholes full of shithole people, whatever. But you don't want them to get comfortable with China or Russia. So what do you want? Because to me, that is the ideology of a loser. Don't you want to exert influence, make friendships? John F. Kennedy's Alliance for Progress, which I'm critical of, was doing this. It was like, dude, we're going to go build you some roads so that we have good faith. And then we can trade and be cool. And your country can develop and you can stay there. It gets me emotional what Commander Zero said during the Sandinista front. He was fighting for the Sandinistas and then the Contras. And he said, "We're fighting here so that our children will not have to flee like we have had to." Don't you want people to do moderately okay in their countries? So at minimum, they don't come to yours, Benny Johnson. Are we not an American hemisphere? Maybe I'm naive. Maybe I'm naive. All right. Let's continue. I wanted to show you here Drew Pavla, who is Australian. He's a neoliberal. I agree with some of his takes. But I want to play. This is an Australian person commenting on the Super Bowl, which, by the way, shows you why this is so important. Because this is our cultural imperialism. This is American cultural imperialism. And I'm not saying it's bad. I'm saying everyone wants to be American. The Australians are watching the Super Bowl and they're getting mad on behalf of Benny Johnson. You should be happy. Blue jeans were a part of the Soviet Union coming down. American culture is a powerful thing that can be used for good or evil. So let's see what this Australian has to say. If you told someone in the year 2000 that within one generation the Super Bowl halftime show would be performed completely in Spanish and they would set up fucking sugarcane plantation on the pitch, complete with I know, foreigner, complete with Hispanic field laborers as part of the set, you would be considered a deranged far-right lunatic conspiracy theorist. I'm watching this from Australia and it's literally a woke fever dream. I can't even believe that the leftists decided to push demographic and cultural change this hard. Literally just a national humiliation ritual for the United States designed to make white people feel bad for existing. The message is, this is your country now, Chud. Get over it. This is our country now, I assume is what he means. So, all right, Drew. Maybe you would be considered that. Maybe. What does woke mean anymore? How was this woke? And I'm saying this as a critic of Bad Bunny. He didn't wear a dress. There was a heterosexual marriage. The music was not homosexual in nature. I didn't see any trans. Obviously, well, not obviously. Well, no, there were no American blacks, if that's what woke was. Lady Gaga was there. She wasn't in a meat suit or singing about gay people. What is woke here exactly? Because this word, I've been assured by Piers Morgan that woke is dead. And I would hope that the word would go with, I hate this word. This word is so stupid. What is woke about this? You can be critical of it, but what is woke about it? And furthermore, I would say in regards to the comment there about Hispanic field laborers, Cesar Chavez is an American hero, and he was a field laborer, and he was of Hispanic descent, and he hated illegal immigration. So Hispanic field laborers are a quintessential part of the United States. And I'm not saying that white people didn't do it and black people didn't do it, but for the past century, it's been mostly Hispanics doing this shit. It's pretty American. Before that, it was black people. I'm not comparing the two. One of them was slavery. But you drive around Florida, go to Immokalee, it's all a bunch of Mexicans picking fruits. I don't see any white people or black people doing that shit. It's Mexicans. I don't see Venezuelans or Cubans doing it. It's Mexicans. Some Haitians, they pick the what's it called? The sugarcane here in Florida. That's like the exception. I guess they're Latino by default, but it's mostly Mexicans doing this shit. Mexicans, Hondurans, Guatemalans, a lot of Central Americans. And in Puerto Rico, for a long time, they used to harvest sugarcane until Operation Bootstrap, but we'll get into that another day. All right? All right. Let's watch here. I responded to this one here because I'm going to lead with this. These Ellis Islanders are getting real. Sorry, we lost there. Ellis Islanders were Italian, Jewish, and Irish. I've heard a lot lately about how the Ellis Islanders, more American than the average American. The Italians are the most notorious criminal faction in the United States up until 30 years ago. And furthermore, they love to say, we didn't use welfare. We didn't have it. Okay. You had the military. Is there not any greater form of welfare than the military? The reason the Irish are here is because they needed them for the Civil War. And then they became cops. And the Italians just kept being criminals up until Rudy Giuliani. Of course, there are some Italians that didn't do it. I'm generalizing. I get to tease a little bit. But let's watch what this Italian man has to say. I am the firstborn generation of a family of Italian immigrants. My grandfather, Giacinto Pascasio, used to make it mandatory that our family spoke English at the dinner table when we'd all get together on Sundays. To our family, America was the land of opportunity, and we were proud to assimilate. Assimilate. My grandfather would have considered Bad Bunny's no English halftime show disrespectful, but then again, he used to hire Puerto Ricans to dig ditches and mix concrete by hand for peanuts. They weren't very well known for high skills, artistry, or architectural math knowledge. Firstly, I would say they are known for their music. Their music is very good. I don't like Bad Bunny, but Puerto Rican music historically is very good. Secondly, how can you be assimilated with the Italian flag in your bio? Okay, you're a hyphenated American here. American, Italian, Italian, American. Your Italian grandfather should have told people to not do the mafia instead of to speak English. Maybe we wouldn't have had to do this whole anti-Italian defense league or whatever if you guys hadn't been criminals. If you guys weren't shooting each other in the streets of New York, maybe. And I'm not saying that this excuses MS-13, Tren de Aragua, any of that. But these Ellis Islanders have been getting uppity lately, man. You guys, the Jews also did the mafia shit. Mayor Lansky, who do you think you are? You think you're a wasp because you've been here longer? Buddy, your people are synonymous with crime. They're synonymous with crime. Also art and movies, of course, but the movies are about crime. You are a criminal people. And they didn't like you until Rudy Giuliani came in and buck broke your ass. And the Irish became cops. And they assimilated. Yeah, the Irish were, even they had criminals. I forget the name of the Irish gang that the Italians would hire because they were ultra violent in New York. So I'm not talking shit here about the Ellis Islanders, but this idea of like, oh, we're different. We're not like the, buddy, you've been here for 100 years. 150. Of course you're going to be different. But let's not get uppity here. Adrian says Christians, blue collar, family unit centric, but they're incompatible according to WASP. Right? Yeah. I mean, look, there are differences between Hispanic culture, and quite honestly, as I've said from the beginning, when I was more into the real, I really cared about this. I would prefer that Latin America develops. And we have no sound. Are we not? Do we have sound? Okay, we have sound. Okay, good. What was I saying? There is a difference between Hispanic culture and American culture, of course. And I would prefer, personally, that the Latin American countries develop so that they could actually develop. And then we could have more trade and we could do cool stuff. There is no reason the United States should be planting sugar. There is no reason for that. It should all be bought from Jamaica, Cuba, and other countries, and Dominican Republic. But we do it. And I don't know why. I had everything says, how you doing, man? Some Italian New Yorkers are just racist. So, I just, dude, this uppity Ellis Islander crap is just, buddy, I've been to Italy. I've been to the south of Italy. Let's not toot our own horn here. And furthermore, I would say, maybe there is a reason for Hispanics to pass on the language to their children. And the reason could be that you could do business with the countries that are a 3-hour flight from the United States. Maybe so that we could set up some functional consulates. Italian is spoken in Italy and maybe in pockets of Eritrea. Sorry you didn't colonize hard enough. It's kind of a useless, it's pretty, but it's kind of useless outside of Italy. All right, let's move on. The difference between Hispanic and Latino is Hispanic, which is the preferred term by most people, means that you speak Spanish. Latino is a term that comes from Latin America, which was invented by the French. And it was actually invented to cause discord with Spain. So most people in the United States, people that are more assimilated prefer Latino. I prefer Hispanic myself, but that's the difference. And now I'm going to show you some people on the left who were also retarded, okay? Because it's everyone. I hope Bad Bunny doesn't speak a lick of English tomorrow. Not one word. Why? Why do you hope that? Why? He did. Fuck you. The Spanish language is colonial too. All right, now now it's over. Now we're done. The Spanish language is colonial too. His refusal to speak English wasn't revolutionary to me. All right, so go back in time to, I don't know, Algeria during the Battle of Algiers. What the fuck are you talking about? No one in Latin America is I hate this meme, and it's mostly second-gen Latinos who do this that don't speak Spanish. No one is speaking Maya or Quechua outside of the mountains. No one is doing it. No one is doing it. They speak Spanish. Do you know how ironic it is? Maybe people don't know this. Evo Morales was one of these pink-tide presidents in Bolivia. He was interviewed by Jon Stewart in the 2000s. Evo Morales was the first indigenous elected president of Latin America. He doesn't speak any indigenous language. And you know what's funny is the Bolivian president who killed Che Guevara spoke like 6 of them. And he was mestizo, so he was more white. This idea, dude, these second geners will be the end of me, man. The Spanish language is colonial too. His refusal to speak English isn't revolutionary, especially when Puerto Rican Spanish is mocked across Latin America. Yes, it is, because it's kind of ridiculous. La Bombilla is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. It's mocked? Damn, shake my head. The way Puerto Ricans and Dominicans speak Spanish is heavily influenced by West African languages. Other Spanish-speaking countries mock it and call it broken. No. Now, these people just make stuff up. That's not true. Dominicans sound like Venezuelans. They have different vernacular like tigre. What are you talking about? They're not influenced by West African languages. No one is speaking Yoruba outside of Santeria rituals. These people are retarded. This is not true. And yes, the other Latinos make fun of the way Puerto Ricans speak. They also make fun of how Chileans speak. And I would know because I'm half Chilean. And we speak like cartoon characters. and no one understands us. We say we are the only country in the world that refers to Santa Claus as the old pastor in Spanish. That doesn't make any damn sense. It makes zero sense. We have the most retarded words in the world. We call the boyfriend pololo and the girlfriend polola. Now, I think it's kind of endearing, but everyone else goes, you guys are the Moroccans of the region and no one understands you. And I go, yes, that is true. We do have a ridiculous accent. We do really have a ridiculous accent. And I'm sorry about that. But it's just the way it is. And Puerto Ricans have a ridiculous accent as well. They can't pronounce their R's, la bombilla, and a lot of them have mala fama, bad fame, because they don't really speak Spanish too well. They don't command it too well. The New Yorkers who claim to be super Puerto Rican, but they don't speak Spanish too well, like AOC, okay? And that's why they get mocked. It's not because it's West African. I don't know why. People think that Latin America, lefties in this country, is like Africa, part 2. No, we had slaves, and they became part of the society when they were liberated. What the fuck are you talking about? In Venezuela, we have a German dialect because they came later. I think it's been wiped out at this point. The blacks in Latin America speak Spanish. They speak Spanish. God, I hate everything. Says, if you think about it, we basically treat it like dog breeds. Dude, we really do. And I'm telling you, we are not a united people. Like, we are united in some senses, but we are not a united people. Bolivar's last words, or some of his last words, because Gran Colombia completely failed. Gran Colombia was Panama, Colombia, Venezuela, and Ecuador. Parts of Peru and Bolivia. And it completely failed. And near the end of his life, he said, there have been 3 great fools in history. The first one was Jesus Christ. The second was Don Quixote. And the last one was me. Because we are not Rodney King, bro. We do not. The Copa America is coming on. You're gonna hear me say the most racist shit about Argentinians and Colombians that whole time. I'm going to be talking mad shit about them. When the Mexican team gets on the pitch, oh, it's gonna be a problem, man. It's gonna be a problem because it's also like rivalry and it's different. It's different, okay? It's different. Spring says, "What is the Spanish dialect in the Falklands?" That's coming. Just show you to illustrate something. Do you know who Chile sided with during the Falklands? The English. Is there anything more race traitory than that? We were like, yo. Fuck these Argentinians. They tried to take Patagonia. Fuck you. We're helping the English. Venezuela sent a couple boats, a couple fishing vessels or something. We were there like, fuck these Argentinians. And, kind of glad it happened. Let's continue. We have here, I want to show you here, this is Dennis Michael Lynch. 1.5 million followers on Facebook, Newsmax TV host. So you can tell this is going to be some high IQ shit right here, dude. Put your thinking caps on. We have some real genius stuff here.
Fuck you. Fuck you. That's what Roger Goodell and the NFL said to you, your family, and all women in the United States of America. Fuck you. That's what Roger Goodell said to America and all the people who made this place great. Last night's halftime show was disgusting. It was the worst of all time. It was a sham. And we should all remember what the NFL has done to us before in the past. And you know what? We let them do it again. I'm not. I'm done. The product isn't that good. Goodell thinks it's that good. He says, we're a global brand. We don't need you. Yeah? Go ahead. Go see what happens. I'm done with you. You don't say fuck you to my family. You don't say it to my country. So I'll give it back to you in a language that is very, very easy to understand. Stick that up your ass, Roger Goodell, and then twist it.
Now, this is, again, I brought it up. Conservatives, man, have a pathetic pathology. It's the most pathetic thing I've seen in my life. How you doing, 112? It's a corporation. Cracker Barrel and Budweiser don't care about you. They have a board. They have shareholders. They have made a calculation that being a global brand is more profitable. Why do people hang on to corporations like they would ever care about you? The NFL hid brain damage that caused people to kill themselves in highways. One of the guys, if I remember correctly with CTE, set $100,000 on fire, murdered his wife, and then shot himself. Why would you think that scrupulous organization, they're full of scruples, would give a shit about what you think? This obsession with Budweiser and you are reducing America to corporations. You realize that, right? That's what you're doing when you do this. So why don't you turn the TV off? Why don't you? That's a good idea. Maybe you can start your own league and keep money out of it and have a real American football league. That would actually be, I might watch sports if that happens. If they were like, dude, we're going to hire some cool people that we think are talented and they're going to play and then we're not going to do this freak GMO stuff to the people, steroids and the like. We're going to play. That would be kind of cool. Why do we want the corporate slop? Conservatives, why do we need that? Why do we need that? They don't need you, so why do you need them? Fuck you. And everything says it's hilarious because many Hispanic and Latinos are conservative. Yeah. A lot of Hispanics, my mother included, hated this show. Let's watch here Steven Crowder's reaction. I know Full Hat's going to like this.
Wait a second. When you talk about Hispanic, South American, Latin American pride, do you realize that every place he just named is objectively awful? Let me go through it. Chile, 868 kidnappings in 2024. Argentina is probably the best amongst them. They reached an 8-year low as far as inflation in 2025 of 31%.
Jeez.
Uruguay, first Latin American country.
Argentina is not the best among Latin America. This meme that conservatives have is ridiculous, dude. They dropped the ball in like 1930.
Legalize suicide. Paraguay actually is one that's actually, I'll let them be exempt. Conservative, uninterrupted conservative leadership for about 70 years. Bolivia, of course, are seeking to decriminalize cocaine. Peru, large swaths of the interior completely ungoverned. Or Ecuador, let's go through that. Murder rate 8 times that of the global average. Brazil, the current president jailed his political enemy and former President Bolsonaro, and they have a rogue Supreme Court. By the way, Rumble is banned in Brazil. Colombia, their most valuable export is cocaine. Venezuela, well, they had 345,000% on inflation, but it's managed to go down to 172. Panama, 2 times the homicide rate of the United States. Costa Rica just hit record high homicide rates due to drug trafficking. Nicaragua, war-torn under communist rule since 2007. The Sandinistas. El Salvador, home to MS-13. Guatemala, under a state of emergency for gang violence. Mexico, the cartel literally controls 1/3 of all Mexican territory. Do I need to do Cuba, communism, totalitarian dictatorship? They arrest people if they simply speak out against their government. Dominican Republic, at least it's not Haiti, so I guess we'll give them that one. And Canada, well, you know, Canada is a communist hellhole, and in 2024, 5% of their deaths were due to assisted suicide, because that's a big thing there. So when he goes through all those places, we're just like, yeah, isn't that great? We're rooting for anyone who's not America, because America is objectively better by pretty much any quantifiable metric you want to use.
Now, my question here is this, especially with Marco Rubio's strategy, Donald Trump's strategy, which is fascinating. This impulse, I really struggle with. When you live in a neighborhood and you have the best house in the neighborhood and every other house is a crack den, do you put yourself up by saying, do you put the property value up by saying, look at all these crack houses? Fuck them. These people, look at my house. My house rules. Look at my... Why would you, this is not a flex. Why would you say this? Why would you think Norway gets to go, look at my neighbors, Sweden, Finland, Denmark, my brother across the sea, Iceland. We're doing okay. We're a beautiful place. You are just shitting on everyone in your hemisphere. Why would you think that elevates you? If you're the biggest, baddest country, which you are, why would you want to live amidst squalor? You even shit on Canada here. If this is true, then what are we doing here as a society? Why would you want to live in a crack den neighborhood? Why would you flex that? You think a Norwegian hears that and he goes, God damn right, those Americans are number one because all those other countries are shit. Or do they go, oh God, I can't imagine my poor brother Sweden suffering like this. If he were having trouble, I would assist him. I would make sure that he was okay. What is this impulse? This is insane. I love to shit on America, on the American hemisphere, because we're better. Why would you do that? Why would you do that? Why would you do that? I hate everything says he's right about the Haiti part. Yeah, DR is a pretty good country, man. It's pretty good. I like DR. They do well. Haiti is a disaster for various reasons. I don't go with the narrative of like, the lefty narrative on it, but there is some validity to it. Effer says, if you look at Western Europe and compare it to Eastern Europe, it's night and day. One side has colonies, the other did not. Imperialism did have a significant effect on the countries. That is true. Absolutely. I guess they kind of colonized like Kazakhstan, the Russians, and Tajikistan and Kyrgyzstan. Like they had their own like internal colonization, right? Dagestan, Chechnya. But you're right. Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, let's continue. For the sake of time, let's skip this. Let's watch this. I wanted to show you this. This is Glenn Beck, one of our favorite punching bags. We need to first lead with this. Glenn Beck, the American nationalist, has the archaic monarchist flag of Iran as his profile picture. You know what I have in my Twitter bio? The American flag. I don't have a flag of a fake country that doesn't exist anymore. All right, whatever. Let's watch. Let's watch his reaction to the Super Bowl.
Now, let me tell you about the culture that the NFL is pushing, because they sent us a few messages. What is the NFL doing? Well, let me start here. Let's just say you're invited to somebody's house, okay? And it's a really big night at their house. They do this party every single year, and they've invited you to come for years, and it's always been great. You know, you brought your friends and your family, your neighbors, and you bought whatever Tupperware he's selling, literally and figuratively, and you've helped make the house the place that everybody wants to be, because you've been sharing it with your friends, right? And you don't agree on everything, but that's never been the point. The point is, for one,
this is a hypnosis technique, by the way. It's designed to get you to like turn off your cognitive faculty. That's why he's telling a story.
One night, everybody's welcome. Everybody just comes together and has a good time at this host's party, right? But this time, when you get there, instead of hospitality, he starts lecturing you. As soon as you get in, he starts lecturing you. Instead of warmth, he mocks the things that you and your friends hold dear. He doesn't argue. He assumes. He signals that your values are outdated, embarrassing, maybe even dangerous. You've brought your kids, but this year he's bringing strippers. And he's been going that way for a while, but now it's just completely over the top. And you look around the room, and some people are nodding, other people are quiet, but you and your friends now didn't expect to feel this in a place that you've been welcome, you know? I mean, it's been going that way for a while, but now, I mean, it's really kind of hostile. Then the host gathers everybody for the centerpiece of the night, moment he's been hyping all year, and he delivers it in a language that you don't speak at all. Now how out of place do you feel? There's no transition. There's no bridge. There's no translation. No acknowledgement that half the room doesn't speak that language. Now locked out of the conversation. And while you're trying to figure out, is this guy, does he have different motives or is he just careless and thoughtless? He keeps going, unbothered by your confusion, unbothered by, your silence or your discomfort. At that point, you're not asking political questions anymore. You're just asking a human one, or you should be.
We're asking a human question of a multi-billion-dollar corporation that hid brain damage from its own players, fucks everyone in the league, and it is just the absolute core, the embodiment of Gilded Age capitalism. Just, I don't care if they're shooting themselves in the chest to preserve their brains. Fuck them. They had to make a movie about this. This is not a family party. Let's continue.
Why did he invite me here? Is it just because I'll buy his Tupperware? Because he's insulting me and my family and my values. He's cutting me out of the biggest part of the night by doing it in a language I don't speak. Was this a shared night, or was I just invited to have my money taken from me and then be corrected? Not tolerated, not welcomed, but to pay the bill and then to make sure that I understand I don't really belong. Or was I invited to be mocked and humiliated by this elitist host who wants all of his cool friends to see him mock me like all bullies do? Is that why I'm here? I think that's the moment a lot of Americans experienced during the Super Bowl last night. And the NFL should hear something. You're not a preacher, okay? You're not a church. You're not a preacher. We didn't come to you to hear lessons. You're not a teacher either. You're not a cultural
I want you to remember that. He's saying that they're not preachers, that they're not there to teach morality. They're there for the game.
Education program. You're the host of a stupid game where people make millions of dollars based on my attendance and my watching you. And the host, as the host, your first duty is not to instruct the guests. It's to hold the room. It's to make space where wildly different people can sit at the same table without feeling targeted, diminished, or deliberately excluded. And when you, as the host, repeatedly signal contempt for me, my values, my friends' values, I'm not going to riot. I don't flip tables. I'll just stop coming. I'll just leave. I'll go find another room, which is what happened last night at halftime. Anything that can be replaced that you're doing will be replaced. And then you turn down the next invitation. And once that happens, the host, you can keep the house, but you lose the gathering unless you're a drug dealer and you know that everyone that you've invited is addicted to your product.
Wow. The first time I hear a conservative actually say something that's true. Well, no, that's not true. But it's a rare conservative W. Yes, it is drugs. It's poison. It's fentanyl. All of it is. Anything made by a corporation is inherently poison. Even stuff that's designed to help you. Ozempic is there to cure diabetes. They want you to buy it. They are creating a demand because you are a drug-addicted person. You need it. The essence of marketing, of advertising, is to create a need where it is not, in order to sell a product. Yes. Thank you for finally making things clear. Thank you for accepting this. So we don't want preaching from our drug. I wouldn't want preaching from our drug dealers. You out there, you're getting your cocaine. hey, listen, man, I really think that you should sign up for Robinhood. It's the best. No, I don't want to hear that. I want to buy my drugs, right? Okay, thank you. All right. By the way, if you're new here, guys, make sure you hit that like button, you subscribe, and leave a comment. It helps the channel grow more than you know, and it's completely free. Let's continue.
And they'll never stop and kick the habit, or so you think. Personally, I think you're mistaken. 6 million people last night peeled away from the network. What's that do to your ratings? 5 million, 6 million peeled away from the network, went online to watch something that doesn't hate them. That speaks volumes about your theory. Eventually, you're going to figure out you're incorrect, and it's going to be devastating to you. So if you're asking what all of this means today, it's simple. The NFL declared last night that America is over as you understand it, that the dominant culture is going to be Spanish speaking. And that might be true at some point. It's not today, but that may be true at some point. But that wasn't an easy transition. That was like a hostile takeover. And
hang on. Again, with the conspiracy theories. What was the hostile takeover? What was it? I would like to know. How did the Hispanics do a hostile takeover of America? Even the ones that are here illegally are here because they find employment from American corporations. Was there a plan? I would like to know. I would like evidence of this Latin American conspiracy to flood the United States and make it Hispanic. Because this is an assertion with no evidence. Let's continue.
And the NFL was saying, we as Americans, we as the NFL, the National Football League, have decided to declare, you're outdated. This is the dominant culture. Get used to it. Wow. Oh, okay. And they did it with a guy who charted number 85. They might be a little early on this. But people did not feel included. If I speak Spanish and those were the lyrics last night, I have to tell you, I am outraged. I'm outraged. Those couldn't have been the lyrics because the network didn't bleep any of the words. Did you notice that? There wasn't a single bleep. Well, you couldn't have. So what did he change the words to? At best, if you were watching last night, you felt a little managed. You didn't feel celebrated. You felt a little spoken over. And the question that everybody at the NFL should ask, any host should ask before the house empties out is this. If I were treated this way in somebody else's house, would I come back? The only logical answer to that for the NFL is, yeah, if all of my clients are drug addicts. If I know they'll be jonesing so bad, right, I can listen to this. The only reason why a host would do this to the people he's invited into his house is because they think you're a drug addict that is addicted to their product and they can do anything to you.
Thank you. Thank you for the accurate assessment of corporate America. The banks do this too, right? The banks, they fucked this country over in 2008. But I want you to remember that he said that he doesn't want any preaching. Okay. He doesn't want any preaching. We're going to skip this for the day. And we'll come back to this one here. Let's look at what the Patriot Show was. Let's look at what the Patriot Show was. Let's look at it. No preaching. We don't like the preaching. Preaching is bad. Pretty normal start, right? We have the national anthem on guitar. ZZ Top looking over here. All right, we can move on. Let's continue. Let's look at the Preachless Patriot Show.
Moans in the front row pew for the Sunday roll call. Everybody praise the Lord. Y'all grew up learning how to hunt and fish. Had to bust a 12-gauge pump and not miss. A life without work, that's just a myth. Never listen when he talking shit. My dad taught me how to stand my ground. Be a man, but we'll never back down. Don't start us up. If he's talking trash, you better throw the first punch and whip his. Be somebody, make a name for yourself. Life's hard, you go through hell. There comes a time when you gotta slow down. That's what we doing now, but we cheated on the girl. Lay back, swiveling like I'm George Jones. You small moles in the front row pew for the Sunday.
I think that's literally preaching. I think that's literally preaching, but it gets worse. Let's watch here some more preaching. And remember, we wanted inclusion.
There's a book that's sitting in your house somewhere that could use some dusting off. There's a man who died for all our sins, hanging from the cross. You can give your life to Jesus, and he'll give you a second chance till you can't take it.
I thought we didn't want any preaching. And this is the worst offense here. And again, as I've said in the past, Richard Spencer might have the best takes on Twitter. He was a white nationalist at one point. I guess the Antifa guy rewired his brain. This is the only rational person that I found on Twitter. You wouldn't expect it. Let's watch him here. He says, this makes the rich men north of Richmond guy seem like Mozart. This is the worst thing I've seen in my life. The worst thing.
Charlie, he gave people microphones so they could say what was on their mind. This is what's on mine. I just want to catch my fish, drive my truck, drink my beer, and not wake up to all this stuff I don't want to hear. Like the same kind of gun I hunt with just killed another man. The only thing mine ever shot was a deer from my deer stand. I just want to cut my grass, feed my dogs, wear my boots, not turn the TV on, sit and watch the evening news. Be told if I tell my own daughter that little boys ain't little girls, I'll be up the creek.
These people, listen, rest in peace, Charlie Kirk. We were the only people who mourned him. Me and Candace Owens, and my producer. These people are losers. They really are losers, man. I have never seen, listen, we all do a little Kangen, as I've said before, right? I'll do a little Kangen right now. I am Venezuelan. We invented the diamond knife. We found the petroleum. We supplied the Allied ships during World War II. They wouldn't win without us. We liberated Latin America. We liberated America with Francisco de Miranda. We was kangs. All right, we all do a little kanging. This is how I assume white people would kang. Don't get me wrong. We fought the British. We invented the light bulb. We conquered the world. We defeated the Germans. We defeated the Russians. That's how I think white people would kang. There is no kanging here. This is pathetic. I just want to fish my fish, shoot my gun, tell my girl that there's no transgenders. Then shut the fuck up and get out of the way. The adults are trying to run the world. If you want to fish your fish and shoot your gun, go do it somewhere. Go move somewhere where you can do that. Everywhere else, they're trying to run the world. They are ambitious. They are trying to do stuff. Good people and bad people. There are competing interests in this world that are trying to do things. So if you just want to flip your burger, shoot my gun, why don't you go do that in some creek in Missouri? There are plenty of cheap options to do that. Everyone else, including other white people, are trying to do stuff that has consequence. If you want to I just want to grill, man, then go do it. No one is impeding you from that. You can always pick up a trade job and go work in the middle of nowhere and fish your fish out of your creek and shoot your gun. Where are my ambitious white Americans? Where are my white people that defeated the Nazis, that defeated the Soviet Union, that put a man on the moon? Where are those white people? What is this? What is this? Where are my whites? White people. I love white people when they're inventing the light bulb and mass production and the Model T. Where are you? I just want to fish my fish, shoot my gun. Go do that somewhere else. This isn't even ankle biting. This is a chain gang that you want to run. You want to run a chain gang where everyone, just like No Child Left Behind, is going at the pace of the slowest student. I just want to fish my fish, shoot my gun. Dude, it really, like Obama clinging to guns and religion, that quote comes back because this is a pathetic existence. I just want to fish my fish. You know what I want to do? I want to start an import-export company that sells nuts and bolts to American oil companies that are developing Venezuela. I don't want to just fish my fish and shoot my gun. I want to do something in this world. These people are sick. Where are my whites that used to do? The white people defeated Iraq in like 30 hours in the 90s. Where are they? Ephra says, let them have their halftime. I don't see the problem. Some people are just more religious, but me not. Some are. I get what you mean. Look, if they really want this, Ephra, then go for it. But I want everyone to be at their best, you know, and I get you, Ephra. Like, it's fine. I'm just bringing it up in the hypocrisy of Glenn Beck or whatever. But the white people that listen to this, which I assume is not the majority, like the people that are watching this, is a segment of white people. Guys, you can do better. You invented the microwave, I think. You invented the interstate highway system. Like you guys do some crazy cool shit, and for you to sit there and say I want to fish and I want to drive my truck. Why don't you invent a Toyota Hilux competitor? The F-150 is an okay car. I see Full Hat says I'm off base. Full Hat, don't you think white people are capable of like some really cool stuff, man? All right, let's move on. Let's move on. This is too stupid. Let's move on to our smart takes before we end with our stupid takes, okay? So again, we're going to be pulling some Richard Spencer because first I want to lead with this. Because George Bush, war criminal to some, evil man to others, prophesized all of this, dude. And I hate to give him his laurels. Let's take a listen to George Bush years ago, post-presidency on C-SPAN.
What's interesting about our country, if you study history, is that there are some isms that occasionally pop up. One is isolationism. and it's evil twin protectionism, and it's evil triplet nativism. So if you study the 20s, for example, there was an American first policy that said, who cares what happens in Europe? Well, what happened in Europe mattered eventually because of World War II. There was Smoot-Hawley, which was a part of an economic policy, which basically said we don't want trade. In other words, let's throw up barriers. And there was an immigration policy that I think during this period argued we had too many Jews and too many Italians, therefore we should have no immigrants. And my point to you is we've been through this kind of period of isolationism, protectionism, nativism. I'm a little concerned that we may be going through the same period. I hope that these isms pass, which would then allow for a more orderly look at immigration policy.
George Bush, if you can hear me, please save us. George Bush, if you can hear me, please save us. This guy was a terrible president. A terrible president. Very bad president. And he is so vindicated. If the outcome of protectionism, and I like some protectionist policies, I'm not an anti-tariff guy. I'm not. I think tariffs are useful if they're done correctly. But why are we, if isolationism was going to lead to, I hope every country in the hemisphere does like shit, and we are the only ones that do good, and we can drink our beer and fish our fish, then what was the point of the whole project? What was the point of America? Wasn't America trying to ascend to become the new Rome, the new England? If I have to say that George Bush has a point, we have lost the plot. I hated this guy. I hated him. I see Stafford saying isolationism. Look, Stafford, I'm not saying, because obviously he's referring to war because he's a wartime president. Isolationism and war is one thing, but to say, oh, I don't care what happens in Mexico, I don't care what happens in Puerto Rico, which is part of my country, or Venezuela or Chile, that's loser shit. Why would you not care? They're your neighbors. You can trade with them. Chile, you could have cheap Chilean wine. You could have great wine plants. You could have cheap copper, cheap lithium. There's so many opportunities. You don't have to tear up the beautiful state of California because Chile has lithium growing out of the ground. You know? Guatemala, you can have amazing bananas, the non-GMO good stuff, you know? All right. Now, let's go through the other smart takes. This man here, who I think is an acolyte of Mr. Spencer. You might not get it today, you might not accept it, but Bad Bunny's performance was a soft power play to forward the aims of the Don Rowe doctrine. Absolutely agree. Absolutely agree. Richard Spencer, no, this is a Richard Spencer fan. Bad Bunny overcomes his origin and steps into the future as an American imperial subject. Meanwhile, the Untermensch halftime show opens with, I just want to catch my fish, drive my truck, drink my beer. Not wake up to all this stuff I don't want to hear. Excellent point. Excellent point. This is the Neil Monroe doctrine and national security strategy set to music. Absolutely true. And then here we have responding to the Australian. What does this have to do with the U.S.? I don't know, Drew. Our national security strategy? Thank you, Richard Spencer, for being the voice of reason. Who would have thought you would say that in 2016? Who would have thought? So let's get to, we're going to go a little bit over time. I have to show you the very astute Megyn Kelly on Piers Morgan. So we have our Piers watch card.
Hang on, no, hang on, no, hang on, no, hang on, no, hang on. No, sorry. I hear you and I accept that and we'll leave it there. Thank you all very much. Say the M word, go on.
And I'll just say really quick, because I see Full Hat saying that these countries are stuck centuries behind. Full Hat, brother, Chile is a almost OECD level country. It is right between second and first world. It is almost there. Argentina, more second world. Brazil, I won't talk about. But Mexico, it could be a first world country. It really could. Canada, which Steven Crowder mentioned, could be a first world country. It's kind of descended, but it could be. A lot of these places are not that bad. Americans need to travel more, man. Panama, second world country, but you could fix it. You could. Americans with Cuban ingenuity fix that country of the mosquito problem. These countries are not that bad. These guys could fix a lot of stuff. Why would you not want to fix them? Uruguay is a first world country, basically. It's actually outliers that are doing poorly, like Cuba, like Venezuela. El Salvador is becoming a first world country right now, whether you agree or disagree with Bukele. It's safer than the United States. All right, let's get to Megyn Kelly, who went on Piers Morgan here today to see what this astute lawyer who wants to shoot people in the middle of the ocean to torture them to death, what she had to say about the Super Bowl halftime show.
Suddenly breathing fresh air again. The whole thing, the response I've had has been incredible. People telling me about what they've been going through and what it's a big thing. Hip replacements are the new cool thing.
That's right. And now you don't have to worry about it in 15 years like the rest of us will. Look, we're getting older, Piers. That's the truth. But you know what? We're the youngest we'll ever be for the rest of our lives, so let's enjoy it.
Do you know what? You sent me the best response, or best message. You just said, look, pains in the arse like me and you, we never die young.
So we've got that going for us. Fingers crossed.
Well, talking of pains in the ass, let's get into something, because there are going to be some things that I talk about with you where we're going to be in total agreement. But I'm going to start with something where I know we are totally in disagreement, and that is Bad Bunny. So I got up this morning and I watched it all without reading anything about it. I just thought, I want to watch this completely clean without anyone's view contaminating my brain cells. And I watched all 15 minutes of it. And I've watched every halftime show going back 30, 40 years. I thought as a piece of theatre, it was the best I've seen. Just the most extraordinary kind of Broadway on steroids piece of theatre. I also thought it wasn't remotely divisive.
So here we have Piers setting up the heel, the cougar for her response.
Politically in the end, his Grammys speech was, but his performance, I thought, was actually a lot of things which I would have thought people on the conservative right would applaud. It was about love. A couple actually got married, for real, in the middle of it. He was preaching about unity, not just the United States of America, but the wider Americas. What was the problem, Megyn?
A certain male gesture is coming to mind, but I'm not sure I can do it on this show. No, it wasn't about what he was actually going to do during the middle of the Super Bowl performance. It's about him. It's about him being chosen as the Super Bowl performer, somebody who's been an outspoken critic, of course, of the Trump administration and of America and our anti-immigrant policies. This is long before the current controversy over ICE. He doesn't want illegals deported from this country. Well, too bad, because the majority of Americans do want that and are not shy about pushing for it, and that's why President Trump got elected. So he and his little buddies over at Green Day never miss a chance to bash the United States of America. He got selected because Jay-Z, for some reason, has got the choice over who performs at our Super Bowl, who's another problem. Don't even get me started on his friendship with Jeffrey Epstein. Why is he choosing who's appropriate?
She said months ago that 16-year-old girls know what they're doing in a reference to Jeffrey Epstein. And I would add, and it appears they're going to push on this, Bad Bunny disagrees with ICE. Okay, is he not allowed to do a show? I struggle with this because I'm really, really good at separating the art from the artist. I don't like Sean Penn as a person. I love him as an actor. Are we so boring that we have to agree with all of the art and artists we consume? This conservative thing is just insane. So unless they completely agree with you, you need to ignore them or get them off the stage. dude, I disagree with all sorts. I disagree with David Fincher on stuff. I disagree with Stanley Kubrick on other stuff. I love their films. This is just pathetic. Let's continue.
For American children to watch during our seminal sporting event. And I'm sorry, Piers, but to get up there and perform the whole show in Spanish is a middle finger to the rest of America. Who gives a damn that we have 40 million Spanish speakers in the United States? We have 310 million who don't speak a lick.
I would think that anyone would care about the demographics of their country. Especially when what you're saying is that a little under a fifth of the country is primarily Spanish speaking. I would care about that as an anthropologist, as a political analyst. I would care about that. I find it interesting at minimum. It matters. So why would you say who cares? You should care. You should definitely care about the people in your country, the demographics. Otherwise, you wouldn't want to deport people. Okay.
Of Spanish. This is supposed to be a unifying event for the country, not for the Latinos, not for one small group, but for the country. We don't need a black national anthem. We don't need a Spanish-speaking, non-English performer, and we don't need an ICE or America hater featured as our primetime entertainment.
You just said it's 40 million, a little under a fifth of people. It's a significant portion. It's a very significant portion. Why would you not care about them and their enjoyment of the event? And that's fine if you don't care. But this is a lot of cognitive dissonance here, where they're here. Do you just not want them here? I would respect that position if you said, hey, I want this country to be white English speaking or Mexican English speaking, but I don't want any of the Spanish speaking people. I would get that, but I'm at a loss here, Megan. I'm at a loss. The Latinos are... What was that, by the way? What was that, Megan? Maybe you have some Latina influence in you, miss. You did that too well. So the Latinos. Okay, we don't care about the Latinos. We don't care about them. All right, let's continue.
Okay, what is the national language, officially, the national language of the United States of America?
I mean, English. And there's been a push for many years to make it an official,
you don't have one.
Documented thing.
You don't have one.
If you would have let me finish my comment, I would have pointed that out, that people have been pushing to make it official.
Okay,
right,
so you're trying to make
something.
official.
This attitude that you have right here is why you in Great Britain have lost your culture. You ceded your culture to a bunch of radical Muslims who came in and took over, and now it's gone. We're not allowing that here. Whether it's Hispanic, whether it's Muslim, it's not happening in the United States of America. That's why President Trump was elected. And whether it's Bad Bunny, who is American but refuses to speak English in his performances, or anybody else, we have to keep the Super Bowl, which is a quintessential American event. Football, that kind of football, is ours. They call it American football. And the halftime show and everything around it needs to stay quintessentially American. Not Spanish, not Muslim, not anything other than good old-fashioned American apple pie. There should be a meatloaf, maybe some fried chicken, and an English-speaking performer. That's what the Super Bowl should be.
Okay, Megan. You do realize that this is just designed to make you go insane, right? Like, this is designed to make people go crazy. There's no way that this is not designed to make you go crazy. She's calling an ethnicity and a religion the same thing. We're not going to be Hispanic or Muslim. We're not going to be like the English, or I think in England their official language is English. I don't like that argument from Piers. I've always hated it, like, oh, there's no official language. Yeah, but the fact the language is English. But it's not official. I mean, that's officially true. But I think it's a little disrespectful to say that. But however, this country is not going to go the way of England and become a Muslim Hispanic country. there are several, for time, we're going to have to, there are several historical points. Then why is Puerto Rico part of America, Megan? Why is it still part of America? And further, I would say he refuses to speak English. Bad Bunny doesn't speak English, which again speaks more to the poor colonization practices of the United States than to Bad Bunny's inability. He should speak English, I agree. Where is the enforcement of English in Puerto Rico? It's been 100 years. Should be unacceptable. If we're going with this logic, it's not refusal. It's I don't know how to speak English. All right. Let's continue.
Okay, two things. One, you've conceded you don't have a national language in the United States officially. And secondly, the language you do want to be your official language is my language. The language of the country you think has gone to pot. So my obvious follow-up is, Megan, why do you want English as your national language if you think England is gone to hell in a handcart?
Piers, I think those medications for your hip have gone too far. You need to, we need to dial back a pill or two, okay? We want something that we can all understand. I don't think Bad Bunny used his appearance to bash America, but I can't be sure because I didn't see any subcaptions on his Spanish language performance.
But what about Pavarotti?
They chose
What about Pavarotti?
two America haters.
What about Pavarotti, who Donald Trump in 2016 in particular would use at every campaign rally? He's used it at the RNC, right, as a triumphant tub-thumping anthem. Well, no, hang on. Not only Pavarotti.
I've been to lots of Trump rallies. Pavarotti gets a song, maybe
but
two.
He sings. But when he sings Nessun Dorma in Italian, I don't see you leaping up and down going, I can't understand a word of it. You're probably singing
I don't remember
along.
him being the Super Bowl halftime show, was he?
Well, would you have minded if he was?
Yes, I would have, because...
Okay, and now we have gone full retarded. This is protectionism at its conclusion. The Rolling Stones did the Super Bowl halftime in like 2005. I have difficulty understanding the British accent at times. I'd also add Hispanics don't understand Bad Bunny either, and no one understands what the fuck he's saying. But so we want American accented performers exclusively who do not hate America. I think there's probably a lot of people like that. There probably are. But as John Lennon said, there are no problems. There are only solutions. Who is it, Megan? I would like to know. I would like to know who it is. Let's continue.
We feature English-speaking performers at the quintessentially American event of the Super Bowl. We do Michael Jackson. We do Whitney Houston. We do great bands that love America, like American rap. That's a different situation. This guy who can't stand the country comes out and starts speaking in Spanish, and I'm sure the people in South Florida really enjoyed it. The people in an American territory, Puerto Rico, really enjoyed it. But the people in the heartland had no idea what the hell was happening. This is a guy who loves to parade around in a dress, who again hangs out with Jay-Z and his Epstein-loving pals, who gets up there when he's not bashing America with his pals at Green Day, who are from the far-left People's Republic of California, who have never missed a chance to rip on Trump, MAGA, half the country, or ICE, and that's something they share with Bad Bunny. That's not representative of what the heartland wants to see. And the heartland always gets the middle finger from people like Jay-Z, like Roger Goodell, who should know better, but he's a panderer who runs the NFL. And that's why you had probably closer to 10 million people turning the channel and turning to the Turning Point event, which was pro-American, which was absolutely beautiful, which had several references to God and faith and this country, which had a tribute to Charlie Kirk at the end of it, and talked about Jesus and how he can change your life. That's what America's all about. We are founded...
And I want to ask here once again. Not once again, actually for the first time. If it was so bad that people had to tune into somewhere else, is this not this fabled free market that I've heard so much of? Is this not the free market? Aren't you happy that this is happening? Because that way, you can succeed. We will see which one succeeds. That would be, if we had competitive football leagues in this country, that would be great. I hate the NFL. I'm sure a lot of people do. I don't like the XFL. I don't like college football. I would like to see another version of the NFL. Why are you angry about it? You should be angry at the NFL for having the rights to American football so that you could do a whole thing. Why, if we're going to balkanize, you should be happy that it is becoming more likely to balkanize as a country if the show sucks, if no one understands it. And the people in South Florida and Puerto Rico are the only ones who enjoyed it. Okay, I guess. Maybe it's a marketing. Look at Piers' shit-eating grin, bro. This guy, he knows what he's doing. He knows what he's doing. He's just fucking with her. This is so funny.
As a Christian nation, we're still a Christian nation, and what we want is somebody up there to celebrate how freaking special this country is, not a bunch of people who can't stand us, and over what? Over our desire to get illegal immigrants who are raping and molesting our children out of our country. That's all ICE is doing.
Okay.
And I would add here, we have an ad, this, which is, these conservatives, they do a thing that it really bothers me as someone who is a big fan of nations and ethnicities. You are reducing the whole thing to a scripted corporate event. The Super Bowl is not America. America is deeper than that. America is the pioneer. It is the Minuteman. America is, it's intangible. America is the invention of the BAR, the invention of the Thompson submachine gun. It's the invention of the Ford Model T, the movie industry. It is people on their back, with nothing on their back, going across the country to go settle in Washington and Oregon. It is people fighting for causes in the Civil War, whether you agree or disagree with them. America is so much more than some corporate events concert. These people are trying to make it so that you think that America is nothing more than America TM. America is just something to be bought and sold on a stock exchange. It's just, it's a sick way of viewing yourself. It's so low self-esteem. It's really pathetic, actually.
CozyEarth.com, code Piers, and if you get a post-purchase survey, mention you heard about Cozy Earth right here. Let me present a different view of Bad Bunny, which is he's the son of a truck driver and a teacher, born in Puerto Rico. He's an American, born there, naturalized American. He is the most successful artist in the world. He's the most streamed artist globally on Spotify for 4 consecutive years, nearly 20 billion downloads in 2025 alone. He has sold 123 million equivalent album sales. He's won Grammys. He's won everything. He is a fantastically successful American story, isn't he? And isn't the fact that he ends up performing at the halftime show exactly the kind of journey that America was founded on, which is a guy who comes from very little, born in America, who actually makes it to the biggest pinnacle because he is, right? I mean, look, I love Kid Rock, okay? And I actually really enjoy the Turning Point show as well. I like them both. But Kid Rock's not had a hit single in the last 11 years. This guy is right now the hottest star in the world, and he should be on the halftime show. I can't think of a compelling reason why
divisive. Not. Because he's too divisive, Piers. I'm giving you the reason. Maybe because you're not an American, you don't get it. He is too divisive a figure. No one would begrudge him his personal success story. Good for him. Great. We love that here in America. Just like we love when our half-pipe freestyle skiers make it to the Olympics. Despite all odds, they overcome them. But when you go overseas, wearing the American uniform and you bash America on foreign soil when you're wearing our stars and stripes, we get very upset here in America. It's not that we don't stand for free speech or differences of opinion or love rags to riches stories. We do, all of those things. But there are certain things that we expect of the people who are representing us when they're overseas as Olympic athletes or when they're in the middle of the Super Bowl, which is our event. That is a heartland event that gets every, usually man, but lots of women too, on their feet, feeling patriotic year after year. It's one of the reasons why we love it. And the last thing we want is someone who's a harsh partisan who we know can't stand the country. And you're wrong. He wasn't totally patriotic at that event. He ended it by saying, God bless America, and then listed all the countries in all of the Americas, which is not how we here in the United States view the USA. We actually do believe in American exceptionalism, and we believe we actually do have a higher claim to morality than some of the countries he was listing, like Mexico.
What the fuck are you talking about? Dude, this bitch is crazy. This woman is insane. This woman is crazy. What are you talking about? You sound like a crazy person right now. Why are you denigrating your neighbor? Why would you say that? They're your neighbor. You beat them in a war. They're your largest trading partner. Why would you do that to them? Why would you wish ill on your neighbor? We are more moral than our neighbor? Shit, dude, then you have to kill all of them. You have to kill all of them. Because we can't coexist with, if this is true, I want all the Mexicans killed. Because we can't live with an immoral neighbor next to us. It's not possible. It's not possible. This bitch is crazy, dude. This woman is designed to drive people crazy.
But you wouldn't want him to have his First Amendment rights infringed on his ability to criticize certain policies of a particular.
Of course not.
American
No one's talking about that, but he has no right to perform at the Super Bowl.
As an American citizen? Really? That's disqualified. So
the First Amendment has nothing to do with it.
Anyone who's ever been...
The First Amendment has nothing to do with it. The First Amendment is about government censorship of speech.
Hang on. Anyone who's been critical then of the U.S. government should not be allowed to perform at the halftime show. Is that your position?
I don't think that'd be my selection. I do think you should find somebody who is more of a unifier, and there are plenty of them. There are still millions of people out there who have very strong political opinions, but they don't voice them publicly because they realize they're in a line of work where that could be alienating to their customer base. The same is true.
Who, Megan? Who? I would like to know who. Everyone is. Rob Schneider is saying who he voted for. Who?
For these performers. And if you want to be super outspoken, if you want to be a Jane Fonda, then go for it. But don't expect yourself to be placed in the middle of what's supposed to be a nonpartisan event and be a so-called unifier. We put up with this year after year after year. But right now, we're in a serious battle over immigration enforcement, something the country voted for overwhelmingly. And to pick two acts who are as outspoken against that as these two and plop them in the middle of the event is a middle finger by Roger Goodell. It's picking a side in the most divisive debate we're having right now in the country, and it was wrong. It was a mistake.
Good. Well, I'm glad we reached a point of zero.
It was a mistake. He has no right to perform there. I think he has a full right, actually, because it's corporation that does whatever they want. This is all my Baudrillardians, man. If you didn't believe before, if you were not a true believer in the postmodern world, I have big news for you. There were 2 halftime shows this year. This is a postmodern world, man. We are now choosing our own reality here. And the only friction, actually, is that we're aware of the other. At some point in the future, I wouldn't be surprised if they just send us our fentanyl so that we can put on the VR glasses and then we would just watch our own show. And then we should do it with the football game too, honestly. We should have a VR version where the Patriots won and a VR version where the Seahawks won. We should have a VR version of like a million halftime shows. Why not? I would like to watch Michael Jackson. If they had the Michael Jackson one, I would love it. I know he's dead, but doesn't matter. With AI, we can bring him back and we can do the AI Michael Jackson halftime. I would tune into that. Baudrillardians, bro. It's over for the objective, the real TM that ever existed. We are here in a brave new world. And I expect that in the future, we will probably have several halftime shows. It's going to be a great time to watch this country become a fully schizophrenic country. I appreciate everyone tuning in for the emergency stream. 112 says, I'm getting ads for it. For what, sir? Oh, ketamine. Yeah, exactly. When you're on ketamine, you don't believe in anything. You know? You're just chilled out. You're numb. Adrian says, where's all her smoke for the UFC? That all-American event that frequently features foreign champions that praise their foreign countries. I agree, Adrian. One of the reasons I stopped watching the UFC is because every winner was from Dagestan. And I was like, dude, this is boring. It's just wrestling now. Like, they used to hit each other. So, you know. AI King Leo doing Michael Jackson songs. Stefford. I haven't seen AI Me yet, dude, but I'm sure that's coming at some point. When this channel blows up, when we blow up out here, when we blow up and we preach to the world the virtues of postmodernism, of Baudrillardianism, when we preach to people to simply relax because it's all part of the plan. It's all part of the plan. It's all part of the plan. See, we have Kendrick Lamar on for the Super Bowl. Everyone is happy. Then we have Puerto Rican and the TPUSA event, and everyone loses their minds. We are going crazy as a country. Let me catch up with the chats here. How you doing, Ironhammer? I didn't see you. I didn't watch because the NFL was already too gay for me, even without Bad Bunny. So if around an address, I'm not surprised enough to be mad. I agree. I do not like the NFL, my friend. The NFL sucks. It really does suck. I'm not a fan. I have a friend who's a Bills fan. I can't stand it. I really don't like it. Yeah, it's just, see here, guys. Do we have any questions? No, not really. Dude, you guys are having some great conversations here. And everything. So is Ron 2028 a part of the plan? Dude, I am going to issue like a chat fatwa on anyone who even floats that. You will make it a reality. You realize that, right? You realize that I had everything. Like, you're speaking it into existence. You are conjuring up forces you don't understand. And I don't understand them either, but we might end up with Ron as president if you keep saying that in chat. It's going to be the end. And by the way, I would add, thank you for that one, because I would add all of these people like Glenn Beck and Megyn Kelly, etc., who were saying like, oh, this is going to make the country Hispanic. You are conjuring that. You are bringing that up. You are calling the Ouija board to do that. By speaking it into existence, it might happen. The probability went up a lot because you went out there and said it. Mr. Yu said, how you doing, Mr. Yu? PBD wants Ron 2028. Dude, I had PBD here, but we don't have time. Of course. What do you think Vinny said? Do you think Vinny was like, I actually really liked it. I thought it was a great show. I'm a U.S. Marine. I really liked it. It was a great show. I really enjoyed it. Stafford says we need Epstein and Diddy Yu-Gi-Oh! Duels. All right, everyone. Appreciate everyone tuning in. Let me do the plugs. As usual, guys, consider becoming a member on YouTube, which helps a lot. If you're new here, like, comment, and subscribe. That's the bare minimum I can ask you. It really helps. That really helps grow the channel. But more importantly, we have here the Discord, which is free. There's the free tier and the paid tier. The paid tier, we already have 2 people because you become part of the paid tier through the Patreon, which is $5 or $20. 112, by the way, message me on, on Discord if you don't see it, because there were a couple accounts that had your name, I think, but you should be in the paid tier now because Audio Vibes is there, where they kind of act as producers. So if you guys want to come in there, suggest stories and everything, just become a member on Patreon. It's $5 or $20 a month, whichever one you'd prefer. And you get the King Leo Movie Club, which you can also get on the YouTube channel for $10, but you're smarter, so you can get it on Patreon for $5. And also the coffee link for the What Would a Postmodernist or What Would a Piers Morgan bracelet do? You definitely would have to get a hip replacement. So good night, Robert. How you doing? By the way, for Ephra, I hope you watched that clip, Ephra, the one of the Rittenhouse trial. I think you really would enjoy it, especially you with your science mind. It's in the comments for the King Leo Movie Club limited version on YouTube if you guys want to see it. It's a great piece of the Rittenhouse trial, dude. That was the moment that the world broke for me, and I realized, holy shit, we don't live in objective reality anymore. It's over. It's a great clip. It's in the comments there. Very, very good. Rittenhouse trial was one of the most interesting things that I've seen. Thank you. I'm glad you liked it, Ephra. 112 says, hey, King Leo, once when I was a kid, I had a really good-looking Mexican friend I refused to play the Ouija board with. That's fucking interesting that you mentioned that. Never mind. My God. The Ouija board, dude. I played the Ouija board once in high school, and never again. Never again. Ephra says, yeah, the guy was really technical. He was so technical, but... And they tried in the cross-examination, the prosecution. This was the expert on photography or anyone that's interested. They were like, oh, you're getting paid to be here. But he was being very objective in my view. He was saying, listen, when you zoom in on a digital photograph, or even when you have a digital photograph, there is a transmutation of colors across pixels, and there's various ways that happens. And that guarantees that any digital photograph you have is going to be inaccurate at minimum. If not telling a completely different story to the reality that occurred. And when I watched that, I was like, damn, dude, so we would need like film photography to capture everything. But even that is a contextual thing. That blew my mind. It really blew my mind when I saw that. That guy, I would love to interview him. I might reach out to him. That guy was a genius, but he's an expert witness, so I'm sure it costs like $10,000 an hour or something. Unless he did it for like, dude, can you do it for the show? I really liked your analysis. Like, it was really cool. So... by the way, I invited a guy onto the show. He hasn't gotten back to me yet, who I found that I think would really vibe with the audience. So like, comment, and subscribe, everyone. Subscribing helps a lot. Liking helps a lot. And we'll see you guys tomorrow for our regularly scheduled program. Goodbye.
Change the world. My final message. Goodbye. Change the world. My final message. Goodbye. Change the world.